All right. Zoom has it live. Now let's see what about YouTube. Oh, wow. And I went right at 11:11. Okay, all righty then. Why not? Good morning, good morning, good morning at 11:11 a.m. on Sunday, December the 22nd, 2024. Today is my one and only child's birthday, and I will be wishing him a happy birthday later on today. Um, Thank you. I didn't know. They're actually not mine. Albert brought them home, and there was two pair on the kitchen table. And so what's really cool is they fit right over top of my glasses. So, but here's the other pair. And I'm sorry, but funny glasses and funny hats are some of my specialities. I don't mind wearing them at all. It's kind of fun to dress up, right? I'm just not sure which one of these I like better, but they're just so cute. I really, you know what I really want? I want to find a pair of those. My sister Teresa had this meme that has a little tiny hamster, and he's wearing these glasses that are hearts, right? And it says something about his love goggles. I can't hear you with my can't hear the hate with my love goggles on, or something like that. And I would love to find a pair like that. That's one of the reasons why I love that. I don't want to end up being a commercial for them unless they'd like to sponsor me, which I would be happy to entertain that idea because I would really be a good one for that magnetic eyewear because I just love that idea. That idea is gold to me because I've been wearing glasses since I'm 2 years old. So it's not something for me, it's not something that I can just lay down and forget over to the side. It's actually a necessity, right? And so having a pair of glasses that I like that are part of my I don't know, my personality, was always important to me, has always been important to me. It's also one of the, again, try as I might, you cannot hide yourself. Even when when you're sinking yourself into something that very clearly is not a hiding technique, like gaining so much weight, right? But I love it. Anyway, so which ones were your favorite? Did you like best? Journey into it. This one I can actually see more. And I guess that's because this isn't quite as dark. So anyway, happy. Uh, Actually, was the solstice yesterday or today? See, I always get confused on that. I know it's one of those days, yesterday or today, and because I think my son's born on a cusp, the second pair. So you like the other ones better? Well, they actually feel more like family because they're of the elf variety, and because I so highly identify with my Fae um, heritage, I think that's partly why you might feel that way too. So apparently, what the actual solstice is in January this year? Huh. Well, you learn something new every stinking day, don't you? I'm telling you, I won't take anything for just granted anymore because we've around every corner, I keep being shot. Now, maybe this is a product of my age too, but I keep being shown where we really don't have the answers we think we have. I've seen a few people say that, but I haven't had a chance to dig into it. That's kind of interesting. Well, there's a lot of different stuff that feels off, right? Um, I felt this once before in 2015, actually, at the end of summer of 2015. So that would have been right around the equinox, actually, right? End of September, beginning of October is when the last energetic feel that I feel like now, where there's like something out of sync in a way. I don't know how else to put that. Um, and that what you just said there. But I thought it was December 21st, which would have been yesterday, right? So yeah, see, I'm not really clear because I do know that it has everything to do with the movements of the solar system, and they, again, for all I know, that's assuming that what I've been told about the solar system is true. And that's a huge assumption. I mean, so I don't know. I'm open to being shown where it may not be because there does feel to be this, yeah, like I said, it's a bit like just something not being in sync, whether it's timing out of whack or something, I'm not certain. But there is also what I keep being shown for myself. Um, well, given even just what I just said, right, about that's assuming that what we've been told about the solar system is at all remotely true, then but those are big ifs right there at this time for me. And so it feels like everything is up uh for review and a second look. Um and I, for one, am allowing myself the time to do that. If I don't feel quite like I'm getting the thing, right? Because I am being shown too where that's absolutely happening across the board because that's how it works, especially with more expansive or expanded concepts. One cannot grasp what one is not ready to grasp. And so there's no need in my getting all worked up because so and so over here isn't grasping something that I just now think I'm getting a handle on. But honestly, the door is open to be showing that ain't so either. So I'm just allowing myself all the time in the world that I need to make sure that the handle I think I have on a situation is the handle I have on it for me first and foremost. I don't think there's another way forward for me at this juncture anyway, because if there is some other way that we have to live, then I guess my time is done here because I ain't rushing headlong into nothing. No, not no more. I got to feel into things for myself and figure out because there's a lot that I just keep being shown too, where making sure I understand that we are all sitting in a different spot for this show. Keeping that in mind, that is huge too. The vantage point for each portion of the divinity into this play that we call life is, even if you're sitting right next to your best bud and you've been there the whole time, you're sitting right next to them. You're not in their body. You haven't experienced everything they've experienced from the time they came into being or ripped themselves away from the pleroma of the oneness of everything. Only each individuated portion has been there for that. And I know when I first started feeling into exactly what that means, it feels a bit lonesome because that means that there will never, ever be another being who understands exactly where I'm coming from or what I've been through in my lifetime. It's an impossibility. And so then I had to ask myself, so does it really matter if they know? Because half the time I don't even know where I'm coming from or why I'm reacting to things in the way that I'm reacting to things, right? So that's part two why I think I'm allowing myself the ability and the timing to slow things down and look at that, because my perspective is where I've been and where I've what I've come through, which is mine and mine alone, and no one actually has the full privy to. So, of course, they don't get it or me. And now that makes perfect sense to me as to the why part of it. And it kind of, I don't know, there's a whole lot of tension and pressure that gets released with that realization for me. Oh, thank you. Because you know what I just realized? Because that also releases me from having to try to explain myself to people too. That's right. Because we're all so uniquely different that it couldn't possibly be the full extent of what you one even comes close to hoping for. And that's behind the whole thing with communication for me. And why, for me, I feel this, because I'm just now actually getting to the hang of how it is the larger portion of me communicates with the smaller portion of me, and it ain't anything like I thought or was holding it to be in the first instance when I first started consciously my thoughts about what consciousness is, right? On this quest at the moment. So, anyway, so because there is so much going on in my field because we are moving now, we do know that for a fact. We have secured the facility. I believe we have. Maybe we haven't fully secured it, but we met all about it. And there's just some timing that has to be worked out yet as far as that's concerned. So, but let me just say that it's been even just this whole thing being shown, and this is very important apparently because now all of a sudden my nose is really starting to go. So I need to pay very close attention to what I'm about to say about this. Yeah. Yes, because I keep being shown there's a lot of different things that I personally am moving through with this idea of this move. You see, of everyone in this particular household, I've lived here the longest. And I'm the one that when I moved in, I didn't really care for this spot and I didn't want to live here and I was moving out right away. And for the longest time, I didn't even unpack a whole bunch of my boxes. In 2016, my friend Kathy helped me figure out that I had never really moved into my house. Between her and the ladies that affectionately we called the Crohn's group, I figured out that I never really actually moved into this house to begin with. So there was that. And so in 2016, right before the gathering here, um, there was a clear the decks kind of thing because I'd moved in here in 2012, and let love transform is the card we got this morning, and it's card number 14. That's a five numerologically, which is all about change, which really that has been, and transformation has really been like right here in a lot of ways. I do see that this whole thing here as an opportunity for me personally, because, like I said, there's a lot of uh, some of them are actually original wound issues, or at least that's where they actually stem from. The whole, and I'm so grateful to have had these private conversations of late that I have had in regards to the theme of abandonment, because that is one that I still move through almost constantly. And you can see even in for me, I can in the languaging that I chose to use in the whole thing about realizing that no one's going to know you better than you. Not ever. And quite frankly, I don't even know me very well. So, that's part of the reason I got to get in here and get to know me on all these levels, right? Um, wow, that whole thing just wherever that was going, went right out the window. So that's very interesting. Where was that going? Well, that is the truth. I have to get in here and get to know me first because, oh, this one flipped right over and tried to hide in the deck. She of the Cruac. Very interesting that that card come out. Oh my word, and it is card number 5. Wow. And here's the way it landed in the deck. I almost didn't see it, that it had turned over and flipped over very quietly. That's very interesting. Very quietly, I'm here. The change is going to happen regardless whether you want to lean into it or not. That's the only question at this point for me. That's the only thing. Are we going to lean in? Oh, wow. I just heard my mother's voice. Are we going to do this the hard way or the easy way? Wow, that's very interesting. Okay, yeah, because I guess that's a very real thing, huh? Ooh, journey. That also feels like a very feminine Saturnian feel to it, don't it? That was my mother up and down, man. Yes, this card has come up quite a few times actually, even though it hasn't been pulled of late, because it's also associated with the himself card, which did come out last week. I think I'm going to just leave it to these two for now, and because I'm entertaining the idea of maybe doing a hangout session tonight, but I'm not quite sure about that because again I haven't spoken to my child yet. The Morrigan has that tone and way. Yes, well, that's why I say that's all that same, for me, that's all that same energetic. Um, when Laura Walker speaks on the goddesses, uh, Sophia has the 12 wisdom goddesses. They are aspects of the goddess Sophia, right? And it's the same sort of thing. I whenever I feel into because how do you go from being all one and yet singular? The only way that I can feel into that is I've always called it this step down method, where the energy gets smaller and smaller, and just specific aspects get carried into, and it actually ends up showing me like the DNA because that's how it's compressed light. I know that doesn't it's not scientific and all of that kind of stuff but it is what I keep being shown. It's the way I keep being shown how it is or what it is, the divinity. It's the way that I'm trying to communicate with me about how the divinity moves through the vessel. And again, see, this is me trying to communicate a concept that I don't quite grasp exactly what I keep being shown. And when I speak it out loud, it's the opportunity for me to feel in my own vessel. Is that right or no? Are we telling the truth here? What are we? Is because a lot of this is brand new for me too. And I think that's if more people would be open to seeing that each one of us are a channel for divinity to communicate through. And each one of us, I listen for that divinity from in here. This is just a medium for me to do it. It's a beautiful exchange, and I'm so grateful for you guys to be here. Because it really does help me process me in a very real way. Um, when the energy comes into the physical vessel, it's a lot. It's a lot, especially when that light is more compressed and the frequency is rising. Wow. Okay. So see, there's so much coming in. I can't even, I can't even keep up. Land, flower, earth. Oh boy, this is beautiful. I couldn't figure out why I had grabbed this and it was sitting on top of the other books until I realized that it's because I was supposed to pull one of those cards too. Okay, so She of the Cruac wants to go first. Card number 5. This is to me, this is the Divine Feminine card of this deck. Uh, the top Divine Feminine card, if you will. The key words for this card are the receptive principle, nurturing, fertility. This is the great goddess, the many named mother of all, and all goddesses are attributes or aspects of her. Her cup, the Cruac, overflows with the bounty for all. She is the yin energy of the universe, nurturing, compassionate, and wise. She gives form and brings into manifestation the will and the life force of he of the fiery sword. His is the intention, the action, and hers is the manifest reality. In a sense, she is the Cruac, holding all the worlds within her being. This is very true. And a local friend of mine that Lisa and I met here locally, who runs our little Wise Women's Circle, is doing, we will be sharing this, a closing of the bones ceremony, sort of thing. You see, that's what women hold within them are portals. We are actual divine portals that bring through that divinity. So that it's a very interesting way that this is speaking to that aspect of it for me, right? Um, in a sense, she is the Kruak holding all the worlds within her being. One Oracle group member saw the Kruak as a great bowl, like a scrying tool for seeing past, present, or future potential, but filled with energy instead of water. Yeah, when you realize that the grandmother carries within her the eggs that will eventually be the rest of that line through there. At one time, the grandmother holds both the mother and the grandchild within her own body. And this doesn't stop, right? That's why it's this miracle that we haven't taken the time to really feel into and see in many ways. Um, One Oracle group member seeing the past and or future potential, but filled with energy instead of water. Within it, he saw a tower with a moon above it, a farmhouse, and many other bits and pieces of our world. He felt that if you dropped something in the water, these things would scatter out to become reality, archetypes manifesting everywhere. He said, she is the woman who dreams, and her dreams are the worlds and all that is in them. I think that's partly true for the whole Megillah. It's not just hers, but all of our collective dreams are what we pull into this reality here. Looking at this card, another Oracle group member notes, what I see here is the energy of being held lovingly in the palm of the hand of the great goddess, followed by a relaxed sigh and release. She of the Kruak is the holder of all of our sorrows and all of our joys. Her Kruak, the miraculous chalice, is the womb of birth and the cauldron of rebirth, the chalice of healing, the container holding the germinating seed. She is the body, the soul shrine that holds the spirit and keeps it from being lost or dissipated in a formless fog. She is pattern and form in the abstract and in the specific. Within her, we take form, grow, achieve fulfillment, and let go of that form to move on to the next phase of our being. All of the universe, each individual particle, every being is cherished by her. She of the Kruak may indicate a form of pregnancy, a necessary time of nurturing and development. We need to be open to her overflowing grace. She may also indicate a need to allow her nurturing grace to flow through us to others in the form of unconditional love and giving and spiritual healing. She tells us of the need for unconditional receiving, of making the best of what we are offered. She also reminds us that unbounded love and grace is ours, just waiting to be accepted. The presence of this card in a reading radiates comfort and nurturing to the cards around it. Well, that's lovely to know because there's such change involved in all of this and even in her own card, right? That's one of the things in my blueprint is one of the primal core things for me is that my Lilith resides in Leo, and that's the shadow of order, which it carries with it a primary fear of change. The only constant in the universe, and I am here to overcome my fear of change. which is why I feel like I originally was having a hard time trying to decipher between anticipation and anxiety. Right. There was a time when I had to question that, actually. How does one tell the difference? Because, I'm not real clear. So which one of these two wants to come next? Boy, I got to tell you, they look very similar in many ways, don't they? Wow, that's very interesting to me. I always see the multidimensionality in Rasuli's paintings. Um, oh, wow. And it also pulls me back to some paintings in my childhood that were when we were kids, our mother was in real estate and she managed a huge apartment complex where we were the only people in this whole complex because it had been foreclosed upon or something. The developers walked away from it, or, for a long time it was like abandoned, right? And somebody bought it, I guess, probably at auction or whatever, how they do that. And we became the caretakers and we had to fix it all up and everything. And we lived in one of the model apartments. And so there was, abstract, this is, late 70s, mid to late 70s. And that's what this feels like. Oh, wow. Okay. So I didn't get to see that whole thing, Crystal, but whatever you just sent through private message just came through. Hmm. And kind of interesting. I was looking up at the time that came through. Okay, so land, flower, earth. This really wanted to be the next one. Land, flower, earth. Land, flower, earth is on page 94, which, what is that? Is that a three? Because that's, no, that's a four. Okay. So page 94, land, flower, earth. The heart already knows what the eyes squint to perceive and what the mind struggles to figure out. Essence is the true nature of one's being. There is no logical equation we can plug into the intellect to home in on essence. Yep. Essence is felt. Essence is intuited. The knowingness that allows us to connect with another's essence cannot be quantified by science. To really understand this world, and I mean really understand, you must connect unconditionally with the essence that underlies every single being and every single life form on this planet. Only then will you be able to discern a weed from a flower and to know which energies, beings, and experiences will serve you and which ones will not. And your only other thing is to trust yourself. The whole time I was reading that, I was seeing that movie Wicked. Sense deeper, sense multidimensionally, so as to allow the essence of what you are observing to show itself to you. Yeah, see, I can't be worried about how you guys are communicating with you, because I'm having enough of a time trying to figure out exactly how it is that I am communicating with me, and I'm starting to get a handle on it, but it's very easy too for me to put aside what I think and feel is right for me in terms of what somebody else thinks is better or whatever. And in the only way, shape, or form that I'm ever going to get to the bottom of this for myself is to allow myself that time to make sure of how I feel, what I'm seeing, sensing, feeling. What do I make of this? Um, because everything else is up in the air. Wow, I'm going to read this again. The heart already knows what the eyes squint to perceive and what the mind struggles to figure out. The essence is the true nature of one's being. There is no logical equation we can plug into the intellect to home in on essence. Essence is felt. Essence is intuited. The knowingness that allows us to connect with another's essence cannot be quantified by science. To really understand this world, and I mean really understand it, you must connect unconditionally with the essence that underlies every single being and every single life form on this planet. Only then will you be able to discern a weed from a flower and to know which energies, beings, experiences will serve you and which ones will not. Sense deeper, sense multidimensionally, so as to allow the essence of what you are observing to show itself to you. And I swear, every time I ask to be shown, if I but pay attention, and that is the key right there. I have to, because I'm a sneaky somebody, and I will use all manner and method to get my attention. And Lisa helped me see that the for one thing, the spirit, the soul, that loving portion of me that has nothing but my highest good in mind, don't push anyway. There's no need to rush any of this. We got time. If that's the one thing we know we got is time. It's just us that are last to the party that don't realize that we do indeed have time. It's just because of what we've been taught. Wow, that feels like it's huge in many ways there. Hmm. And now this last one, card number 14, which again is a 5 numerologically. And this other one was card number 76, which I still don't get this with these cards. And so what is that? That's a 4 too, isn't it? Man, all of a sudden I can't do math in my head anymore. What's that? No, that's a 5. A seven, do the math. Somebody help me out and do the math. 7 plus 6 equals what? Don't that equal 14? No, 13. Because 7 plus 7 is 14. So it is a 4 numerologically. Yeah, it is a 4. See, boy, you got to put them brain molecules back into use. Thank you. Thank you, Crystal. I appreciate that. Okay, so number 14. Let love transform. The spring of love arrives to transform the dust into a garden. The call is heard from the heavens to bid the wings of soul to fly. The sea becomes filled with pearls. The dry land receives the water of life. The stone becomes a ruby, and the body becomes all soul. Rumi. Well, you know what? That's one thing that by slowing, allowing myself to slow down and get a handle on things, that's where I keep being shown the interconnectedness of things. And once one sees that, that really does lend a whole other uh, layer to it. At least it has for me in many, many ways. Love is my medicine, intelligent medicine. It takes death and makes it a passageway into greater life. What genius is this? A genius that will render anything and everything as a pathway to life. I have found a bench upon which, well, here's the deal. I'm either going to get a pathway to life or I'm going to get a pathway straight to death because that's the choices, right? I mean, that's, and for me, I now see death as a wholly different thing as the way most see it. It's not what we've been led to believe in any way, shape, or form. And I'm holding it open to being shown what it actually is. I'm more excited to learn what it actually is. And I would like to uh, dump all the preconceived notions and ideas of what I've been led to believe it is and see what it actually is. Because a lot of this that I've been experimenting with on my own here is very different from the way it's portrayed or held in the things that I've found myself drawn to in the learning portions of these festivities, this quest that I'm on, right? I have found a bench upon which we may be seated, nay, not a bench, a love seat. It is carved of precious ruby. It sits under the gentle shade of an ancient tree that thieves, no, sorry, that thrives in love's garden. Come and sit with me, beloved, as we let the whispers of the great beloved penetrate our hallowed ears, carried upon the sweet afternoon breeze. As the sun begins to set, the colors become vibrant. Even if we are deaf to the beloved's tender whispers, we shall not be blind. We shall be captured by the vivid display of the beloved's artistry and the transported and be transported into peace. Wow, when I feel that as an entire separate whole there, that's very interesting because that's a whole little vignette that evoked within me. This oracle comes to you as a living spiritual gift. Whether you realize it or not, you have triumphed. You have blossomed, succeeded, cast aside that which was unworthy, and taken up love's way. How much delight there is from all those that walk this way of love, of life, to find another precious companion in their midst. You are welcomed into this world where love finds a way. Oh my God, if y'all only knew how significant this feels for me in this moment of now. Because this feels like a huge, oh, I want to do what Lisa did. Okay, we just finished binging Sleepy Hollow, and the main character is from the late 1700s during the Revolutionary War, and that's how he flipped out his tails and he bowed to the people, and so um, I keep being shown that as I was reading this. right here. And an entire, just, I don't know, at any rate, you are welcomed into this world where love finds a way. There is nothing impossible for love. It is not bound by the mind, and because of this, all manner of miraculous grace works through it in endless creative variety. The great beloved is a show off, creating with such genius as to be breathtaking. Were we able to remain always in the heart, we would be constantly breathless in a fit of appreciation and awe so great. Truly, there would not be even a slither of emptiness through which fear could enter. Yes, part of this whole thing with the body and the slowing down of different things and feelings, I'm seeing where even this is so. There's so much that we don't give the time of day to, the very miraculousness of our very existence. When contemplated properly, is awe striking. For me, it has been. Especially when I realize that there are parts of me that I have not been in 100% communication with, parts of me that actually know a lot more than I do and are willing to show me things that I don't know about how I could move throughout this realm and go about experiencing myself and this realm from a different perspective. Ooh, that's been the most attractive of all of this. The great beloved is a show off, creating with such genius as to be breathtaking. Were we able to remain always in the heart, we would be constantly breathless in a fit of appreciation and awe so great. Truly, there would not even be a slither of emptiness through which fear could enter. What does this mean? It means an avenue for divine fulfillment has been found. You are being given the power for spiritual success. Your heart's yearning shall manifest itself, but you must comply according to the law of love. What does that mean exactly? Do not attach yourself to the form that your resolution and success shall take. Why would we seek to limit love's creative genius thus? Wow, that has been all my entire premise behind why I don't charge for anything, why I don't do, I'm not doing the same kinds of things that other light workers do because it didn't feel right to me, for me, about my path or whatever it is I think I'm doing here. I don't know. And so I love this because I don't know what all of that will look like. And only by holding myself open to being shown the proper way for myself can I do that. And by not quantifying it in some sort of way in order to put a dollar amount on it and then turn around and market it in some sort of way, right? Which is, I can't even imagine in any sort of way. So, yeah, why would we seek to limit love's creative genius thus? No, instead, trust that it will be magnificent perfection, literally the work of great genius. Detach yourself from expectations of timing. The harvest will be at the best time when the ripeness is just right, so utterly juicy and sweet. You shall know with certainty that this was the best way. Not a moment sooner would have been perfect, nor a moment later. Absolute trust is energy to spare, perhaps. Wait a minute. Absolute trust. Yep, see, I have that imbalance. Absolute trust is the best way to adhere to the law of love. This gives you rather some energy to spare, perhaps that might have otherwise been engaged in perpetuating worry or doubt. Wow. Well, I'm happy to see that you are twiddling your divine thumbs and wondering if you're not going to worry. If you are just going to surrender and trust, then what exactly will you do with yourself? Well, of course, you could just live your life, but perhaps you may want to dance barefoot and wild with me upon the cool sand at midnight under the fullness of the harvest moon. Well, I like the sound of that. I do feel like, and I have heard others saying this as well, there is some sort of a window open for different things. It's going to look and feel different for different beings, I think. Um, and I don't be, like thinking you're left out or something if you're not feeling any windows open, because that just might mean that your window's not open right now. That's why I know for myself that I can only speak to my own experiences. That's all this channel has ever really been about. And I highly promote that each being dive into that which draws them, whatever draws your attention to something, there's something there for you to discover for yourself, maybe about yourself, about how you think and feel into life. If you're asking yourself questions, see, that's the other thing. I ask myself questions all the time. Instead of asking everybody else, I listen, I was asking everybody else, tell me what you know. Tell me what you know. I still want to hear what folks know because that's how I collect puzzle pieces. And sometimes folks have puzzle pieces for me, and I don't even know what those puzzle pieces are. I just know that there's some reason that I feel very attracted to what you have to say there. I'd like to hear more so that I can figure that out. I guess that's it. That's all I have for today. I hope this was helpful for you guys. Boy, it sure was for me. I feel as though with what has been happening the last couple of weeks, where I was feeling the rise of the sacred masculine, that felt very real. I still feel like it's there. And now I feel very clearly. I still feel, and I don't know if it's, again, if it's just a function because I know I carry an aspect of the dark feminine, the Lilith, the Morrigan, the Hecate energy that resides within me. So I know that it does. So I'm not, whenever that energy feels to be showing itself, I'm not quite clear of what it is that I'm meant to see, sense, and feel there. I'm really still not even clear, really, why there's this parsing out of the dark feminine in such a way that separates it out. Is it because of the way humanity has a proclivity to need to separate things in order to understand it? Is that it? Because I know for myself that's part of what my whole making sure that labels are right. That's why I like to make sure I got somebody's name right. That's the most I don't know, it's the most genuine label that you just hand out to strangers, but there's so much contained within that label. I always want to make sure that I am pronouncing it correctly if it's your name or whatever, right? And there's something to all of that where it has something to do with the frequency, I guess. I don't know. But I know that I keep being shown a lot of stuff and I'm all over the shop. That is one of the reasons why I'm saying that I may or may not come back and do a live intuitive hangout session. I would like to do that because I know that there are some things that I am working through within myself that I could use, just more input, more data input. So, but it also, I'm not certain because of what has been going on. See, now, like throughout this, a lot of this live, I've had that, it really just started in the last little bit here, discomfort in the right side of my head with my voice. Something about my voice is sort of irritating this side of my head. And I'm not quite certain what that is exactly. And even as I feel to try to feel if there's any information forthcoming about that, I'm not getting anything. So, Journey, if you get something about that, I would love to hear about that because it doesn't happen very often. But when that happens, I never really understand exactly what's behind that. It would make sense if I was speaking to someone else, but like in this, oh, you get that a lot where your own voice hurts your own head. Yeah, what's that about? That's when something like that is occurring, I really don't know. I That's why I oh, wait a minute. So you get that a lot and you're here now. So are you having it now? So am I picking that up from you? See, isn't that interesting? But that does happen to me too. That's why I was saying I'm not sure. Now, see, I'm trying to see. It hasn't. So I guess I need to speak some more so I can see. Oh my God, it's not there now. The minute I acknowledge whether or not it could be for you, it stopped. Okay. Well, no, because just then, not necessarily the head, but just throughout the body. No, not now. Yeah, see, it's not just I just I was beginning to wonder if it was just that I was feeling you, but it's not that. Because this has happened to me before too. I was just shown that. Okay, well, so if I do a live tonight, I will make an announcement on the community tab on the channel, and I will also make an announcement on my Facebook page. And if you're in the neighborhood and you feel like hanging out and coming and asking for a card and maybe, just see what other shenanigans we might get up to on the channel, we'd love to have you. Um, let's see, what else? Is there anything else? There's not, I don't know what to say about because we don't have a date yet for the actual move. So my being here will be sporadic. I don't know. I won't know from one day to the next as to how things are going or any of that kind of thing right now. So I guess that's it. I kind of was feeling whether or not I have any announcements, but I really don't. Oh, I do want to put it out there again about the idea of doing the Celestine Prophecies as a book club group. If you're interested in participating in that, please send an email to consciousconversationscentral@gmail.com, and in the subject line, put Celestine Prophecies, and also include in there the time zone in which you reside and whether or not a morning or evening uh, meeting time for 2 hours at a stretch, uh, when that would work better for you, morning or evening. Keeping in mind that here we are in the North Carolina, so that's the Eastern, right now, Eastern Standard Time Zone. So that's it, really. Till we meet again, mwah, be well, my friends. I hope that you will move towards that which brings you joy in each moment that presents itself to you. It really is just a matter of your perspective and whether or not you're going to allow yourself to slow down and consider that perspective. Because for me, I've learned an awful lot about my perspective having been based on a whole bunch of assumptions that may or may not be true. And once one starts looking at one's life through those kind of glasses, well, everything is up for review. For me, anyway. Be well, my friends.